All right, it's the end of the session. This is Papa, and this is Papa's roadmap to success. Now, he's tired. I'm going to use these treats just to kind of keep him here, but he might run off stage. But basically, this is a longer session than I anticipated. And at the end, he wasn't performing as well in the video we just shot above. That's a good example. We don't want to over-exercise him. A little bit of exercise before you did what we did at the park wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, for you guys, a little bit of exercise might be just walking from your house to the park. That's a nice amount to take off the edge. But if we over-exercise him, that kind of makes it a little bit worse. So we want to be able to have all his capabilities. All right, so the first thing we did was we talked about celebrating. The Guardians here already have established a marker word, but yes, they haven't been using a clicker. So one of the first things I want you guys to do is load the clicker. So you're going to walk around the house, probably do this tomorrow. Walk around the house, click, give him a treat. Take a couple steps, click, give him a treat. Do in the kitchen, the bedrooms, the office, all over the place. So he understands that the clicker works everywhere. He's failing trying to get up there. He's so tired. Yeah. And if he has some adult relations with this thing, that can be a sign of being overly tired as well. You're gonna do it on camera. You're gonna get that on camera, buddy. So basically, you only have to do that about 6 times with about 12 treats each time. Click, treat, take a couple steps, click, treat, a couple steps. After a while, that click becomes more powerful. We had a problem at the park where it wasn't working as well as we'd like because we hadn't properly loaded it. So after you get that done in the next day or 2. So by the time the weekend's over, you've walked around your house, click and give them a treat, and now you can start using it. Now, I use the clicker when I'm actively training. The rest of the time, I use yes as my marker word because I can say yes at any point, but the clicker works about 20% better. And when you're doing stuff like we did at the park or things very intense, using a clicker is better for that. All right. Now, I also went over the concept of celebrating. Celebrating is a really underrated thing, which is just simply rewarding Papa when he does things that we like. Every time he sits, he comes to us, he lays down, he gives us eye contact, he drops one of his toys, he goes to his dog bed, he drinks his water. Anything that we find desirable, I mean, right now he's kind of humping a bear. Now, this is probably not as desirable as trying to destroy it now, but if he wants to hump the lamb, right before he does it, you could say, Barry White, and then he kind of humps the lamb. You could eventually teach him to hump the lamb by saying Barry White, because you're waiting for celebrating. This is a really bad example. I'm tired. So basically, it's just waiting for him to offer a behavior voluntarily. And when he does, we say yes, and then we pet him or give him a treat. I'd like the Guardians here to point at each other and say celebrate if one of them misses. So if I'm just sitting here and Papa jumps up here and sits down, somebody says celebrate to me, I just say yes and pet him under his chin. I don't need to know what it is. The more you get in a habit of doing this, the more he will start offering those behaviors, and it'll also increase his confidence because he knows what it is that you like him doing. Now, the flip side of that is something I call the manners lesson, which is basically if he is barking for attention, which he was before, nudging or pawing for attention, he's saying, give me some attention, damn it. Is it wrong for a dog to like it, ask for attention? Absolutely not. But that's probably not the most polite way of doing it. So if he barks at me, I'm going to ask him to sit, lay down, touch his nose with my hand. Whatever the cue is, I'm going to ask him 1 time. He has 2 seconds to do it. If he does it, I say my mark word and I pet him. If he doesn't do it, I just lean back and go back to reading the magazine, check my emails, play video games, do whatever it is I'm doing. I'm not telling him no, but if you want my attention, this is what I need you to do. Do something for me. Now, if you want to pet him for no reason, that's totally fine. But if he's demanding attention, we're going to tell him, hey, you need to use the do-over concept. You have to sit, and then I'll give my attention. You can't bark at me for attention. Remember, anything he's doing right before you give him attention is what you're specifically rewarding him for. So if he barks and you give him attention, you're training him to bark for attention. All right, so these are kind of 2 sides of the same coin. Celebrating is when he chooses to do things that you like. You say your mark word and pet him. Manners is when he asks for attention in a way that you don't find appealing. You tell him to do something else. If he does it, you reward him. If he doesn't, you go back to doing what you're doing. All right, now exercise. We went over a number of forms of enrichment. Guardians take him out for a walk, but he is a little bit reactive to dogs. So let's say there's a lot of dogs in your neighborhood and he gets aroused. We want to help him avoid things that are going to arouse him. So maybe we use those toilet paper tube that I showed you, stuffing wads of paper in with treats crumpled up inside them. You can get that low box, no taller than this, and get a bunch of paper, chop it up into 3-inch by 8-inch strips, put all that paper, and then throw a bunch of his kibble in there and some treats. You can also crumple those up and put those in there with treats in the crumpled piece of paper. You can put the toilet paper tube in there. So now he's got these things to do to get him to burn some energy. We can play Cookie in the Corner, which is the one where we're throwing those treats in the ground. And I have a video for that. If you have questions, let me know. I'm happy to share that video for you. The idea for him is to exercise him about every 3 to 4 hours or give him mental stimulation every 3 to 4 hours. Now, the guardians here work from home, and one of the big problems is he likes to bark at things. So the video that's going to be directly above you guys for a dog named Ghost, who is a Pomsky, I go through the technique of knocking at the door that I showed you. Now, I'd like you to watch that video and make a list of all of the things that he barks at. The golden retriever next door, the person in the shower next door, the sounds in the alley, the delivery truck, whatever those things are. Now, if you can get a recording of those, you can play those while he's eating his food. But right now, he doesn't eat his food very well. We're going to talk about that in a sec. But right now, his guardian is ignoring him while he is biting his toe. Now, he did not go to puppy classes, so he does not have what we call good bite inhibition, and he puts his teeth on a lot of things. It's a bad habit for dogs to get into. So anytime that you're playing or interacting with it in any regard and he puts his teeth on you, immediately stop. Like, if you need to, you can get up and walk away and close the door behind him. You want him to understand that when you put your teeth on me, that is the end of my attention for you, and if you do it a second time, I'm actually going to leave and put a barrier between us. Now, I don't like leaving very much. That's called a negative punishment. I don't like doing it because a lot of dogs will bark to complain, which I think he might do. So I want you to just be mindful and stop engaging with him when he does that. But celebrating also helps him understand the things that you do like him doing, and he starts offering those behaviors. Now, before you're going to have a Zoom meeting, take him out, set him up for success. Take him out for a walk first. Remember when on our walks doing the hunt game. So every block, I want you to stop in a grassy area. The hunt game is you should touch a treat and say hunt and drop it just right in front of him, slightly away from the sidewalk. When he looks up, you say yes, show me you have another one, throw it 2 feet away. He runs and gets that one, say yes when he gets it, then show me you have another one, throw that one about 4 feet away. And if you need to, do it again. Now we've practiced moving him from the sidewalk away from the sidewalk, and he's hunting in the grass looking for those treats. Do it on every block, do one of those on every block. So if a dog does come and you do that, he's practiced doing that. And he's like, oh, this is the hunt, find things on the ground game. I love doing this. I get treats. And he's distracted and allows the other dog to pass by. Remember, we want to avoid taking him into areas or situations where he is, I'm just laughing, he's humping. His guardian just petted him while he's humping. But we want to avoid taking him around areas where he is going to practice unwanted behaviors. The humping now, I think, is because he's overly tired. It can be a sign of over arousal. It can be overly tired. I think he's overly tired. All right. So a lick mat. Put peanut butter on that thing. You can start putting that in your freezer. And then before your Zoom meeting, pull that sucker out. You took him out for a walk. He's already tired. And if he kind of arises in the middle of your Zoom, you pull that out, put it on the ground. Now he's going to spend time there licking that thing. Load it up and see how long it takes him to go through the whole thing. So you know how much time you have in your Zoom when you use one of those. If you have a Kong, fill that sucker up with peanut butter. Get him a bully stick, bull penis. Get him a collagen stick. My dog's favorite are cow kneecaps. Touch. This is something I haven't gone over with the guardians, but what I just did, something is called the positive interrupter lesson. So all attention for dogs is rewarding. So if he barked there, I said, be quiet. That's going to make him more likely to bark. He might stop now, but he's more likely to bark there again. So what I did is I used an interesting sound. So let's see which one he likes. Beep, 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 beep. Waiting for him to look away. Puppy, puppy, puppy. He's wagging his tail for the kiss. So the kiss is the one that we like the most. So not unusual. So basically, let's say that he hears a sound at the door and he goes over there and he's staring at it. This works better than before he gets into something. He's really tired. And so when he's looking, I go, puppy, puppy, puppy. And then I do the chop, touch.
Oh, no.
Now, he's just so tired right now that he can't listen. But what you want to do is you want to interrupt him the instant he starts sniffing the trash, scratching at something or whatever it is. So you make the sound, he looks at you, you say touch, he runs over and shoves his nose to your hand. You have now redirected him away from something you don't want him to do. Now, you have to give him something else to do. Give him a bully stick, give him a collagen stick, give him a lick mat. Otherwise, he's probably going to go back to doing what he was doing before. Now, barking at the window is something he also likes to do. If he sees somebody walk by and he barks at them and they go away, he thinks his barking is what made him go away. His guardians have these blinds usually down here, and they don't get any nice California sunlight. I would get a piece of white paper, go to Kinko's or Office Max, get an oversized sheet, cut it exactly. I'd probably have it a little bit taller than this, about like right there. So everything that you see as a window now will be white paper. This could be all the way at the top. You get nice sunlight coming by. Somebody walks by, he's not going to see them. If he hears them and he goes barks at them, he does not get to see them go away, which also rewards and reinforces him. Hey, buddy. And so after a while, he learns that barking does not make things go away. Is that right? Yes. All right. And so now the video above is going to talk about counter conditioning and desensitization, the one for Ghost. Watch that one, make a list of all the things that he barks at and systematically desensitize him, which is the thing that I did at the door. Now, he also is what's called free fed. His guardians leave food in his bowl all the time, which takes away all the value for his food. What I would do is I'd put the food in the bowl, and he seems to be more interested in eating with his female guardians here than his male guardian. So put the food in the bowl, come over and tap it. And if you want to come up with a funny word, say lasagna, and then tap it. He comes over and eats, and the guardian might have to eat a cracker or a chip or something. That's fine. As soon as he gets done eating and he walks away, pick up the bowl, dump it empty, and put the empty bowl back down. It's important to put the empty bowl back down. Most of the time, he's going to come back and lick it. Now, if he sits here for 10 minutes, let him have it as much time as he wants. But in the wild, if he leaves food and walks away, another animal is going to come and eat it. We're just emulating what he would do in the wild. I would recommend the guardians find 2 or 3 times a day and feed him at those specific times every day. Seeing that they're providing food makes them more of a role model or of a leader. Also knowing that the food is going to go away if I don't eat, I better eat on a regular schedule. And regular schedules can help dogs feel a little bit more comfortable and confident. Then once he's eating on a regular schedule, we could have the sound of that golden retriever or the shower, play that at a low volume while he's eating his food. And then we stop it when he gets done eating his food. But right now he goes and takes one bite and walks away. That doesn't really work very well for it. And it just is, I think in his case, going to a structured feeding will be helpful. If you have difficulty with doing it, let me know. I have a printout I can send to you. It's a 2-page printout. It goes through how to change him over to structured feeding. Once he does get done with structured feeding, I would start feeding him out of a snuffle mat. That makes eating like a short walk. It's a nice way for him to burn some energy. Also, he seems to be pretty smart, as guardians have talked to him. He's picked up stuff quickly. Find some treats. Find some tricks. I'm going to teach you bang, you're dead. I'm going to teach you roll over. If you teach those, teach them in that order. Bang, you're dead is half of a rollover. If you teach roll over first, it's hard to teach bang, you're dead. So training dogs is a great way to drain energy. So if you train him maybe 3 times a day in 1-minute training sessions each of those 3 times, that's a great way to drain some energy. Cookie in the corner, another nice thing to do to drain some energy. Give him the toilet paper tube and all the enrichment stuff that we're talking about. The idea is to come up with things every 3 or 4 hours. When he's barking at you, he's just basically saying, I'm bored. So if you are proactive about getting him structure and exercise and mental stimulation, he's satisfied. He doesn't need to do all those things. Let me see, what else? Have some rules. Tell him to sit before you prepare his food. Tell him to sit before you put the food down. Sit before you put the harness on. Before you open the door. Sit at each corner. And if you tell him to sit at the door and he doesn't sit, just drop the leash and go and sit down. Watch TV. If he barks at you, just wait for the barking to stop. And then practice again. Practicing when you don't need it is the best way to practice. A lot of times we're like, okay, I have 12 minutes. I can walk you real quick, and then I can still make the chicken, and I can do this and this and this. And then he doesn't sit at the door, and you get frustrated with the dog. So practice having him sit at the door when you're not planning on going out for a walk. So he just gets used to doing that. And if he doesn't want to do it, you're not going to sweat him on it. You're just going to go sit down. He doesn't like having the harness put on. I think he's chewing something. I don't think it's a food item. So what I would do for the harness, now if you get a different harness, make sure an X or Y shape. What he's wearing is fine, but he doesn't like putting his paws in there. So what I would do is maybe try to lure him so he steps on it. And then when he steps in the hole, say yes, then lift one up. And do the same thing with the other side. And when you clip it, say yes and give him and attach it. Or you could just hold a treat to his lips and put his paw through it and then release the treat. Put another treat to his lips, put the other one to the hole, release it. Wow, that was some good ups. He got some energy. I think he's playing possum. And then clip it behind him and give him a third treat. So let him understand that putting the harness on gets me a treat, and I would rather have the guardian wearing a harness than the neck collar, especially if he's jerking around. It's better for his anatomy. It's also better for his fearful actions. And also the retractable leash. Just use that when you're at the beach or somewhere where it's safe, where you let him run around. When you're walking, use the 6-foot leash that you see right on the couch, I think, or in the front of the shot. That way he's closer to you. It makes it just a lot easier for you to control him, and he's not going to be so far away where he has a bad experience. Let me see. We also went over dog consent. Remember, dogs don't like it when we start petting them on top of the head. So for dogs, cutoff signals are ducking the head, turning away, grimacing, like looking like thinking you're going to hit me, ears rotating back, and often a combination. The most common one is like this. If we go to reach it, that's the dog's way of saying no. He can also bare his teeth. That's a pretty obvious cutoff signal. He can look at you side eye. We call it whale eye for the dog world. He can refuse to come to you. And we often think he's being disobedient. He's like, no, I don't want to come near the scary person. So remember, when you start petting him, don't start on top of the head. Dogs interpret that as domination. Instead, pet him. He seemed to say that he liked being petted under his chin or on his chest. And so when you have guests come over, instead of having the guest go over to go to pet him, he seems fine with humans, but have him come and touch. Or have them hold their hand out. If he comes up and touches his nose to their hand, he's saying, yes, I'm interested in getting pets, and then tell him he likes being petted underneath. If not, if he turns his head aside, he's saying, I don't want to do it. Now, I forgot to do this like 4 times in the session, so I'm just going to explain how to do it right here. He doesn't like is it a shark, or what do you have for is it Dyson?
Dyson.
Okay. He doesn't like the vacuum cleaner. Dogs don't like vacuum cleaners because of 3 things. It makes them nose blind. It makes a racket and a contraption, but it releases all the smells of the whole apartment in one location, which is confusing for them because they're scent creatures. It also is moving around. So the movement, the sound, and the smell are 3 senses. So what I would do is I'd put the dice on the floor and drop treats around it. If he approaches it and gets a treat and runs away, he's practicing approaching it. He won't get the ball that's underneath the Dyson right now, and because it's a scary thing. So I want to desensitize and counter condition him to it. So I approach the Dyson, which is lying on the floor. It's not on, and it's not moving around. And I go over and do it, and I get a treat. Eventually, you're putting treats like on the tube. And he's going over and licking them off. That's the first stage. The second stage is basically I would pretend vacuum with it being off. So Alex just goes like this, and then you give a treat. So and then I move it back, and you get a treat. So we're moving it. Each movement gets a treat, but it's not on. So it's not releasing the smell, and it's not making the sound. So now we're getting him used to the vacuum moving around. And then the last stage is I would have like the vacuum as far away as it is here. It's way against my back door. And let's say that I have Papa right here. I have somebody turn it on and off, and I give him a treat. It's far away, so it's not emitting the smell over here, and the sound of it is muffled because it's farther away. And after you do this, and after a while he's not like really panicking or looking over there, then you can move him 1 foot closer to the vacuum cleaner, and move the vacuum cleaner 1 tip closer. Gradually get closer and closer. Eventually you like turn it on, vacuum a stripe, turn it off, give him a treat. And repeat that. And after a while he's like, can we vacuum around here? It's dirty, and every time I vacuum, I get a treat. There's something in it for him. All right. I think that's about all that I have, but do you guys have anything else you want me to talk about while we want to do this? This is just for you guys. Okay. Now, when you're practicing at the park, watch that video above and ask me any questions. If it's not going well, let me know. But I would advise you guys do that at the park 2 together. One of you is there to shepherd and lead the other dogs away, or block the other dogs if you need to. The other one is exclusively going to have the leash and the treats and the clicker. Have the leash in your non-dominant hand and put the clicker on top of it. Your other hand should be have the treat pouch on the side that your dominant hand is. So that way, if I can get it here, I can click and reach in here and give them a treat. I want to keep my hands separate for that. You want to come up here and get a treat? Yeah. All right. So if you have questions on that, let me know, and I'm happy to go over that with you. Yes. Well, this is my buddy Papa, and this is Papa's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.